Stephen A., Miami's upset of Boston. Is this something or nothing?
It's something. It's something. I was quite shocked. I was dead wrong. I thought not only did I think the Boston Celtics were going to win last night, I thought they were going to blow them out, and Miami was going to go back to Miami and win. I didn't think that they would be in Boston doing what they did last night. 62% of their shots were three-point shots. 62 of the shots made with three-point shots. This is the fourth time in the last two postseasons the Miami Heat have shot better than 50% from three-point range against the Boston Celtics. Okay? You got to think about that for a second here. And then Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero was the best basketball player on the court last night. It wasn't Jason Tatum. It wasn't Jaylen Brown, even though they both had good games. It was Tyler Hero because he controlled pace. 14 assists to go with his 24.6 threes. The brother played outstanding. And so I look at it and I think about what we said coming into this series. We knew that the Boston Celtics collectively were more talented, but we also thought the Miami Heat were mentally tougher. And we think about Heat culture, and it's a cliche that we throw out there, but we can't ignore this because they're exposed to 10-3 in game twos after losing the game one. The man is a hell of a coach. He finds a way. And then when you look at Bam Adebayo, he's averaging over 21 a game, shooting better than 50% from the field. Tyler Hero is doing his thing. Caleb Martin showed up after his anemic 4-point performance in game one. He was a threat as well. But somehow, some way, they end up beating the Boston Celtics. The only thing that I would say is this. Kristaps Porzingis, how the hell you 7'3" and shoot 1 for 9? 7'3". I mean, I don't know if you even have to jump to dunk. And somehow, some way, you will shoot 1 of 9 from the field. You only get what is it? You get to the free throw line 4 times. You get 4 attempts. You hit all 4 of your attempts. It was a very disappointing performance, and the kind of things that we've said about Boston can beat anybody, but in the same breath, they could lose to any of these teams if they don't bring their game. And when I look at them right now, I just find myself scratching my head, and I just can't help but say it because I always do, Wendy and Legs. I think if Ime Udoka was coaching this team, they'd have won the title last year, personally. I think they had a chance to win the title last year. I just think that he's that outstanding of a coach. Mazzulla is good, but he just creates some question marks sometimes when I see these dudes play the way that they play. That's just me. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, you brought up Porzingis, and I think the takeaway from me in this game is really Porzingis. Now, look, the Heat won because they were awesome from three-point range. They had, when you look at Jaquez, Highsmith, and Caleb Martin, those guys were 0 of 11 on threes in game one. They were 11 of 17 in game two. Okay, that was an outlier. Great three-point shooting performance. But the Porzingis thing is the interesting thing, guys. Not just because of this game, but also going forward. Because what Eric Spoelstra did in this game was put a big, giant target on Kristaps Porzingis. If you go watch all the three-pointers that they made, and it takes a while because there's 23 of them, most of them were aimed on pick and rolls at Porzingis and Horford to a certain extent. But essentially what Eric Spoelstra did was target Porzingis on defense by basically having the guys who he was guarding shoot the threes. Now, Boston's point is Jaime Jaquez and Caleb Martin, these guys are low 30% three-point shooters. We're not going to have Porzingis go up and smother them. We're going to play the percentages. But then at the other end of the court, guys, Eric Spoelstra put Caleb Martin on Porzingis for a bunch of this game. That was basically a disrespect move, basically daring Porzingis to beat them. And the big difference between this Celtics team this year and last year is Porzingis. Now, the addition of Drew Holiday makes a big difference, and individual matchups in the playoffs, that could pay huge dividends. But Porzingis is the big move. And Porzingis has been great this year. And basically, Spoelstra is challenging Porzingis. So I want to see how he responds in Game 3, and regardless of what happens in this series, I wouldn't be surprised if the future opponents target Porzingis and make him prove it as well.
All right, listen, I'm going to pump the brakes on the level of anxiety I'm feeling from you and Wendy right now. I'm just a little bit. Here's why. Here's why. The question is this a big deal, or is this like a one-game situation and things happen? I think you can only answer the question in the context of what comes next for the Boston Celtics. Look, there's no question they can be vulnerable on certain nights, and I think they're going to be the most questioned 64-win team this league has ever seen all the way through the postseason. Any night they lose a game, we're going to raise this question. Wow, is this something? Are they now going to find themselves in danger at some point in this series? Here's why I say it only matters in the context of the next game. I want to see what adjustments they make. Because here's the thing. We're talking a lot about Miami Heat shooting threes and making threes. To put it in context, what we watched last night, I think there's been 3,300 playoff games since they put the three-point line in. 3 times in the history of the NBA playoffs have teams made more threes than the Heat did last night. That is a one-off, absolute shooting above your pay grade night by the Miami Heat. I don't expect that to continue throughout the series. The Boston Celtics need to go down to Miami and win Game 3 decisively. And if they do that, they will immediately flip the script. They'll put away all the talk that this is going to be a long series. They're in trouble. It's dangerous. The Heat, Eric Spoelstra, all that. All those things are true about Miami, particularly Spoelstra. But the Boston Celtics can reverse this mentality immediately. And here's the adjustments. Here's what Miami did to them. They didn't blitz them last night. They switched all of their ball screens for the most part throughout the game. As a result, Boston went into heavy isolation mode. When they do that, they are susceptible to nights like that offensively. I'm much more concerned about what Boston didn't do offensively last night than what the Heat did to them on the other end of the floor, because I don't expect that to continue. To answer your question about Porzingis, you're right, and he has to take advantage of the switches. If you get Caleb Martin, you get Jaime Jaquez on you, whoever it may be, you got to get to the mid-post and shoot a turnaround jump shot, use your length, and be a factor in the series offensively. He was not last night, so I'm looking at it like this. The Heat shot out of their minds last night.
Right.
Boston has to now go reaffirm who they are. Remind us in Game 3.
The stars are already out in these NBA playoffs. Pascal Siakam leads in postseason scoring. Damian Lillard is right behind him on the other side of that series. Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, both averaging over 30 points per game in their series as well. Okay, Legs, Windy, back in his house. Stephen A.
Yeah.
Let's break this down. Who has been the most impressive to you thus far in this early season of the playoffs?
The operative word, ladies and gentlemen, is impressive as opposed to efficient. I'm going to go with Joel Embiid. I can't even tell you how sorry. I'm a Knicks fan. I can't tell you how sad I am for this guy right here. This dude is averaging 31 in this series, 31-9 in this series on one leg. And if you watch him move, if you watch him play, he can barely move. He's writhing in pain all the time. I mean, he is just out there. I feel so bad for him. I really, really do, because to me, as much as I love my Knicks and as much as I'm rooting for my Knicks and what have you, I think this would be a different series if Joel Embiid was 80%, guys. I don't think he's at 50%, Wendy. It's a challenge to push that he's at 50%. Like right there, he'll move, he'll make a quick move, and he'll look healthy, and then the next thing you know, all of a sudden he can't move for the next 10 minutes. I mean, it's like that. And to see it up close and personal, to see him just squinting and just writhing in pain the way that he was, and to be out there on that basketball court doing what he's been doing. I'm not shocked at all that he hasn't been that effective, Tim, hasn't been that effective, Wendy, in the fourth quarter, because I'm shocked he's made it to the fourth quarter. And I've wondered often, Nick Nurse, why do you have this brother with the ball? They got their little rotation offense going. You setting screens. You got to stick your leg out to do all this. Somebody can run into your knee at any given moment. I don't know why on earth. And then they got him coming like from the right side to the left. So when he's facing them, he's sticking that left leg out. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. But that's just what I come up with. Again, impressive. I'm not talking about efficient.
I love your answer, particularly. And one of the reasons I think he's staying so much on the perimeter is because if he goes into the paint or under the rim offensively,
you gotta go.
He's never getting back to the other end of the floor.
Right.
He can't change ends of the floor. I think he's saving some of that energy to get back and help protect the paint.
Right.
Love your answer. I think there's 2 other guys. I'm going to give you quickly the obvious one for me. When you look at what Jokic is doing, I'm not going to discount 30, 16, and 9. Okay, those averages in 2 games against the Lakers, particularly the way he operated in the fourth quarter of Game 2. But I think my number one answer is Pascal Siakam. And here's why. You look at that team collectively and the playoff experience that they have, the lack of winning as a group that they've had in the postseason. They don't know what that's all about. Yeah, they had a run in that in-season tournament. It's not the same as this. This is what you went out and got him for because of his experience in the postseason, his ability to raise his level of play. He is a champion, and he is a guy that right now, when you look at those numbers, 37 and 12 in the first 2 games against the Bucks has been enough to withstand the onslaught from Damian Lillard to get that thing to 1-1. I picked the Pacers to win that series. That's not going to happen if they lose game 2. They do it in large part because of the way Pascal Siakam operated. So just individually, a guy raising the bar under a more extreme pressure, I'm looking at Siakam and what he has done with that younger core group of players in Indiana, man. They're following his lead, and he's giving them a real chance to win this series.
Yeah, Siakam certainly sees great opportunity without Giannis because he can dominate in the paint, and the Pacers have been the dominant paint team in that series because Giannis isn't there at either end, and he's definitely up there. I want to put a little bit of a spotlight on Luka Doncic, and with words that I didn't think I would say, his defense. His defense has been the biggest thing that has affected him negatively other than his complaining over the last couple of years. We know he's one of the most talented offensive players in the league. I couldn't believe the level of defense that Luka played in Game 2 in LA the other night. He was the point of attack defender time after time again. He's down in a stance, digging, using his length, not letting guys past him, contesting shots. The Clippers were 2 of 17 shooting against him, 0 of 11 when he was directly contesting the shot. Now, there's 100 different reasons you can miss a shot. In an individual game, anything can happen. But the leadership that I saw from Luka defensively in this game is a reason to believe that the Mavericks can stitch this together. When they started getting going at midseason, I wanted to dismiss them, guys, because I didn't think they would be able to defend well enough to win at a high enough level.
Right.
Well, they shoved that back in my face because down the last 20 games of the season, they were the #1 defense in the league, and they won this game in LA the other day with defense. And if they're going to defend like that, and Luka is going to work at this end of the court, their ceiling is going to get raised. So I am impressed with Luka. He's obviously got to do it for more than a game or two, but this is changing the dynamic. And not only that, Kyrie Irving is working hard, staying in his lane, and Kyrie is so dangerous in the postseason in these one-game settings where he can win a game by himself. Dallas is so dangerous right now with this defense.
Good choices. Good choices. I can't listen. Those are good arguments, especially with Luka, because he was D'ing up in Game 2, no doubt about that. We can't ignore Jokic. I'm just looking at Embiid, man, and I'm like, on one leg, this brother is doing what he is doing, and I can't believe he's still on the court. Seriously,
yeah, I'm sick to my stomach.
He's been that bad
because he finally has the co-star that's ready for this moment.
That's right.
Tyrese Maxey's been unbelievable,
yes,
and I expect him to be most nights because he doesn't seem fazed by any of this stuff. He's just the same guy every night, confident personality. That's why I'm sick for Sixers fans because Embiid looks like this when he has that guy showing up. And I think he's going to show up every single night. Right. And is it going to be enough with Embiid at 60% to get through this series?
And by the way, with Maxey, this is what needs to be said as well. Understand that Jalen Brunson is a top 5 candidate for league MVP on this. Jalen Brunson has been sensational this year. Tyrese Maxey's been the best point guard in this series. He has clearly outshined Jalen Brunson in a significant fashion. And Jalen Brunson's going to have to step his game up to come close to matching what Tyrese Maxey has given him.